It's been over 2 years since we were first introduced to Alaqua Cox's Maya Lopez in the MCU, but last night we learned a whole lot more about her with a 5-episode show titled Echo, and it's telling her story after the events of Hawkeye. I watched all 5 episodes not once, but twice since it came on Disney Plus last night at 8 p.m. I absolutely loved it. It is one of my favorite MCU shows so far, which I did not expect, and I'm so happy that I enjoyed it as much as I did, and I hope you did as well. So let's talk about it a little bit. I'm going to tell you my thoughts, what I liked, what I didn't like so much, and let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. First and foremost, I just want to say I am so proud of Alaqua Cox. She is a Wisconsin native. Before Hawkeye, she had no acting experience. And Alaqua is not just representing Wisconsin here. She is representing so much more. She's representing the indigenous people. She is deaf. And she is disabled. So there's at least like 4, and female. There's 5 different categories that I can think of off the top of my head that she's representing. And it's just amazing to see. I definitely think that Alaqua Cox is making a significant impact in representation, and I hope more than anything that she has a long, successful career ahead of her, because I definitely see it. With that being said about how much I am inspired by Alaqua, because I really am, let's talk about the things that I didn't necessarily love about Echo. Well, this series introduced us to a lot of things, and it showed us a lot of things. It didn't really tell us a lot, and I was left with more questions at the end than I was going into it. Personally, I think the 5 episodes hurt it a little bit. I know that Marvel, the lowest one that they have is 6 episodes, so this is now the lowest episode Marvel show, and I think Daredevil Born Again is going to have, 18 episodes? Which is crazy. I would have loved to learn more about Maya, the history of her tribe, her powers, everything like that, and see a little bit more about after the events of this show. I know that we're going to obviously get more of Kingpin, but I want to know exactly what effect her taking away his childhood pain had on him, because there has to be something coming. He seems the same. He doesn't seem any different than before, at least not yet. So I'm very interested to see what kind of effect that it'll have what Maya did to him. Another thing that I would love to learn is the extent of Maya's powers, because we just found out in this show that she had powers. In Hawkeye, we knew that she was like a badass fighter, but we didn't know that she actually had some sort of power. And then with Kahori, we saw that her indigenous people had the power because of the Tesseract. But this isn't because of an Infinity Stone. This is just because of her people. And that was amazing in itself. I loved the story so much. I'm not a comic reader, so going into this show, I had no idea that it was going to connect to Maya Lopez's ancestors and the indigenous people. It was absolutely beautiful and breathtaking. I loved every second of it, and I think going into that story made so much for the show. Now, my biggest complaint isn't even about the show itself. It's actually about the promotion for the show. This show is titled Echo. It's starring Alaqua Cox, about Maya Lopez and her story. Yet 99% of the promotion for this show was aimed at Kingpin, who was, granted, very notable in this series, but he didn't appear as much as I actually thought he was going to. He was a prominent character, but he wasn't in it as much as I thought he was going to be. And same with Daredevil. They marketed a lot of Daredevil, and he was in it for 5 minutes. So they used those to get the viewers of the original Daredevil shows to this, because I truly think that they did not have high hopes for it, which is sad, because I truly did love this, even if it didn't have Kingpin or the 5 seconds of Daredevil. I would have loved this show what it is for in itself. I mean, even the posters featured Kingpin, more Kingpin than they did Maya, which was shocking to me. I was like, this is Echo. Where's Maya Lopez? She was in a motorcycle on one, and then there was a huge Kingpin behind her, and then there was her with Kingpin walking in the other background. It was just, I don't know. It should have been, look what they did with Kahori. And that was 1-2 episodes in What If. Maya Lopez had a whole show about her, and I really do feel bad for Alaqua Cox, because I do feel that she should have had the attention being the star of her show. One popular complaint that I saw online from viewers is the pacing of the show, but I thought, personally at least, that it was well balanced and intentional. While there were moments that may have been slower in terms of action, I believe that it was necessary to allow the story and the backstory to unfold. By taking its time, the show allowed us to be that much more immersed in the culture and the story. It really made us appreciate the depth of the characters and their journeys that they went on. Truthfully, those are the only things that I didn't really like about it. There was like two things, and it was the questions that we were left with because the series was so short, and the promotion. And then it was me not agreeing with the pacing issue of it. But now let's get into all the things that I liked, because there are so many things that I absolutely loved about this show. Besides Alaqua Cox's performance, like I've already raved about, I loved Maya's family. It was so refreshing to have such a authentic side of a family when they find out that their life could potentially be chaos. You know, I mean, when you think about these superheroes in these movies and shows, they just accept it. They're like, oh, you have superpowers, we have to accept what the world is. But Maya's family was like, listen, you have your New York problems. We live this simple life here in Oklahoma. Let us do that. They did not really want to deal with it, and they didn't see Maya as a villain, but they didn't necessarily see her as a good guy. They saw the influence that her father had on her, and they still hold the grudge and blame him for her mother's death. So they're kind of putting up walls and guards, at least at first, for Maya, because they're scared. They don't want to get hurt. They don't want to bring that scary Kingpin and his assassins to their small community, to their tribe, and they shouldn't. And it was so refreshing to see such a realistic approach to that. Genuine fear of the potential consequences that Maya brings to the community, rather than just immediately embracing it. The representation and the backstory of the Choctaw tribe, and especially Tuklo, her story really was like, holy moly, this is beautiful, and it really stuck with me. The connection to Maya and the power, everything that I did not expect at all from this series. It made the series, if I'm being honest with you. It added such depth and richness to the narrative, and it showcased the beauty of real-world cultures and how they inspire fictional worlds. It's a wonderful way to appreciate and celebrate the diversity that is in our real world while enjoying our fictional worlds. There was actually one part of Tuklo's story in episode 3 that stuck out to me, and it was a quote that she said, "They will see me. Not as they think I should be. They will see me as I am." I think that this quote encapsulates the overarching theme of the entire Echo series. Maya finds herself in a tumultuous battle between what she was taught by her father, her influence on Kingpin, and then the deep-rooted values of her native family. She is perceived almost like a villain to those around her, including her own family. But she isn't driven by the desire of evil. She's driven by the desire of justice. That is what Maya seeks. She doesn't seek to be evil and to rule. She seeks to have justice for her father and for her family. All Maya wants to do is right the wrongs that were done to her family, and to be seen for who she truly is, not what anyone else wants her or thinks that she is. I do think that the show is going to appeal to a lot of those original Daredevil Netflix fans, because it is a lot darker than we've seen in the MCU, a lot gorier and bloodier. There are some times when I kind of get queasy at blood, and there was 1 or 2 times in the show where I kind of just had to like cover my eyes because I could feel myself getting ready to faint. But it is very exciting to see the MCU expand into this darker and gorier era, and I hope that it's influenced not only in Daredevil Born Again, because we know it's going to be that more mature content, but also within the MCU itself, within the movies and some other TV projects. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed Marvel Studios Echo, but I do find myself wishing that it was just a little bit longer. The series just left me wanting more, which I know is pretty intentional because they want us to demand this character so they can bring him back in more things. But it just made me reflect on the numerous new characters and recent faces that we've got and been introduced to, but we haven't fully explored who they are yet. You know, in the past, phases 1, 2, and 3, we would have 1 or 2, maybe even 3 movies of this character, learning them, getting to know them, their backstory, a team-up movie in there somewhere. But now we get what? A 6-episode, 5-episode limited series introducing us to this person, and then we go years without seeing them again. We see them so sporadically, it's kind of hard to keep an interest on these characters because it's just someone we see once, we don't see him again for 5 years. Oh, hey, yeah, that's Moon Knight over there. I remember him. So it is kind of hard, but I loved this show, and I truly hope that we do get more Maya Lopez, and I'm excited to see the future of her and Alaqua Cox in the MCU. This show really did exceed my expectations a lot. It delivered such a deep and captivating story, which I had no intention of it doing. I thought it was just going to be, kick butt, Maya Lopez, Kingpin, Daredevil, but the whole culture, everything that it showed, really stepped up its game for me, and I would give this a 7.58 out of 10. It is definitely one of my top 5 MCU TV series. So let me know in the comments below what you thought of Marvel Studios Echo.